Just a little bit of a catch up after yesterday's video. This is the sheet of scrap steel. Yesterday I ended up putting the other side on. This is the spray can side. As you can see, I did actually mark it so I can see which side it is. Not coming up too bad initially, and the other side's got the runs on it that happened because I put far too much paint on yesterday. So I've got a sort of run down here where it's just pouring off the panel, so that's probably the worst ones I've got so far on doing all of the works. So I'm going to take this through the various stages I've used before, just using hand sanding with a block of wood and some various wet and dries, maybe on half the panel, and then the other half I'm going to try and get the orbital sander on it. So picked one of these up a couple of years ago. It was down at the Bonnie pageant, so I'm going to try using the various grades, take it down to a reasonably smooth finish again like I did with the panels. And obviously for the other stuff it'd just be a block of wood with the sheets. What I may also try, probably not tonight, depending on time, is this is the Buzzweld paint isolator that my brother recommended, trying some sort of isolator to try and cut out any previous remnants or any contamination from lower panels. So that'll go on one of the panels I've been working on so far that's been giving me loads of grief. So that'll probably go on maybe the next sort of day or so. I'm going to have to give it a bit of a light rub down because it's still got the remains of a half decent top coat on it and other areas that have reacted. So I'll give that a coat, let it dry. I'm going to use it as a primer, so I'm not going to put any more primers on top of it for obvious reasons, and see what happens when I put a bit of base coat on top of that. So wish me luck, a bit more sanding, and then maybe an update later. Right, this is more for my reference than anything else, but for each of the sides where I've got the hangers, this side I've sanded down with the orbital sander, and this side I've done with a bit of hand sanding, and on the other side likewise, left hand side hand sanding, orbital sander, right hand side hand sanding. So I've taken them down to a 600 on the hand sanding and a 500 on the orbital sander. I will just put maybe a little bit of guide coat just over maybe the top surfaces of both of them. Do a little bit of rubbing down of that as well in case there's any contamination from that, which is very unlikely, and then I'll see what happens after that. Slight change to what I said I was going to do. I've actually wiped the panel down in the pre-paint prep that I've been using, which is the proper sort of professional spray shop stuff. And on each side, just on the top half, I've gone over just with a fine mist coat known as a guide coat, just with some satin black. Both sides. I'm going to let that dry for a while. Get the again, get the wet and dry out. 600 or maybe even slight finer. This is just really, it would normally be just to make sure that the actual panel is flat or there's any high or low spots. But for this purpose, it's just really just to try and go through the motions to try and highlight why I might get in the reaction. So this is more for my records really, so I can remember which way up the panel is and which side I've done what to. So yeah, I'm going to let it dry for a while and crack on from there. Right, just have a go at trying to get some of the guide cut off. This is the can side, I believe. Yep, can side, ever so. I've just had a go at doing both of them just with the sanding block 600 to get most of the guide cut off. I haven't got too many, so I left these areas on here. There's bits left on here and around here, so if these are the areas that obviously flare up, that's just for me to realise which areas that I've left the guide coat on. Obviously, other than keep it great, some of the paint's come off around the edges, so again, not too much of an issue for what I'm trying to use this for. So that is the can side. On the proper spray shop, spray gun side again, I've left a bit around here, a bit on the folded over edge, and a bit around the tape area again of the guide coat. Unfortunately, I went a bit mad with the 500 and actually took some of the primer off, but again, just for reference purposes for later on, so I can see if it's any of these areas that react up later on. Just for anybody that asks the question later on, I've been using the proper sort of professional quality spray booth rag, so obviously spraying on with the paint prep and then wiping off with this, trying not to use the same side twice obviously. I'm going to hang this up in the booth later on and we'll give it another wipe down and let it dry naturally just to make sure there's nothing left of the pre-paint solution on there. Maybe in half an hour I'll come out and I'll try and mix up a bit of the base coat and give it a go, see what happens. Right, just going over what you've seen me do there. I hung the panel up about an hour and a half ago. I had the little heater on here to dry it all out from any chemicals that might have been left on from the rag, and raise the temperature a little bit in the booth. I've hung it this way now, so I had a bit of light on both sides of it to save me not being able to see the back side as I did yesterday. And I basically went around, mixed up some blue paint again, and sprayed a light misting coat on both sides. Sat down in the booth, got the phone out, had a little look around, had to play for a while for 10 minutes just to let it go off a little bit, and then come back and give this bit sort of 2 more coats, and the same here and on the other side. So I'm just trying to squeeze as many different permutations into this test piece as I can. Normally I would have just done this one and left it for a day just to let it literally bite in, but I thought I'll try a few different ideas out. So that's obviously the one side. I think this is the spray gun side from memory, and on the other side, not quite as good, is the aerosol can side. Obviously these are the bits I think where the paint had come off when I was doing the sanding. So at the moment, no immediate reactions, which in some ways obviously may be confusing, but at least it may prove that it's not the chemicals, that as in the thinners isn't any good for the paint, and or the cleaner is reacting against stuff. So it may well be, certainly for the fiberglass panels that I've got, that I've just got the fiberglass sort of issues to contend with. But I'm going to leave this now for a day to dry, come out tomorrow night and see how things are looking. But initially, if that was a new panel, obviously I haven't put as much time into it, so but even just seeing the reflection in it is pretty good. So before, some reactions I've been getting has been obviously quite bad. So still none the wiser at the moment. If I could do that to all my panels, I'll be really happy. Obviously I haven't up till now. Maybe tomorrow night I'll get the other panel that I've spoke about out the loft, where I've stuck it away for storage a while, and see if I can get some of that isolator paint on it and see how we get on. What I will probably do with this anyway, as a test piece, I've never ever sprayed lacquer and it does seem very, very thin, is I'll probably take this right through to the end stages and try the lacquering as well to see how that goes. Obviously maybe we'll build up these two as well. That has got quite a lot of almost print on it, as you can see by the accuracy of the lines on the white suit there. I did come in when I'm going to do any polishing of mine to try and get rid of all this pill, but we'll see. Just getting a decent coat of paint would be an achievement for now. So yeah, watch this space.